No, this is not a repeat episode. Another day, another football commit for Bret Bielema and the Illini.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. My name is Sonny Verma, your host here at Locked On Illini, where I continue to provide you coverage daily. That's right, every single day of the orange and blue. Everything is absolutely free. I ask for nothing in return, but if you're feeling nice, if you're feeling generous, the only thing I ask is if you can smash that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel, as it is my goal to get to 5,000 subs by the time we kick off the season against Western Illinois. I believe it's on August 29th. Today, we're doing yet another episode on a new commit for the Illini. And hint, hint, I don't think it's going to be the last one that I do this week. We've got a big-time recruiting win to break down as Illinois football continues to stack edge rushers in the class of 2026. The latest commitment, Kayden Bennett out of Suffield Academy in Connecticut. An intriguing prospect who may not have the flashiest ranking, but his film and physical traits do tend to jump off the screen. And let's just be honest, this seems to be a part of a bigger trend. Illinois is at this point almost not quietly building its most athletic and aggressive defensive fronts in recent memory. And Bennett's going to hopefully be a huge part of that. So today we're going to dive into his profile, what makes him unique, how he fits into Aaron Henry's defense, and why this might be a bigger deal than most Illini fans are giving credit to. So let's start with the basics, as I usually do. Kayden Bennett, 6'2", 245-pound edge rusher from Suffield Academy in Connecticut. He's a part of the 2026 class, committed to Illinois on Tuesday. After taking an official visit to Champaign, he chose the Illini over other programs like UConn and Temple. But he did also have other Power 4 offers from schools like Boston College, Wake Forest, Washington, and I believe Syracuse. Again, depending on where you look, you'll see different rankings. 24/7 has him as the number 91 edge rusher in the class, but the composite rankings are a little bit more favorable. He's considered the number 466 overall player in the country and the number 45 edge rusher naturally. That may not scream five-star buzz, but when you dig into the tape and scouting notes, there's a lot to love. Obviously, Illinois just had gotten the recruitment of Jalen Stewart earlier this week, another edge rusher. And so I didn't know if Illinois would take two. So I knew he had visited, and I knew the Cliff Notes version of what Kayden Bennett was. But once he did commit earlier on Tuesday, I did a little bit more of a deep dive, got to watch some film. And so I'm going to do my best to tell you what I got a chance of seeing. Let's talk about his playing style. Kayden Bennett is the definition of disruption. The dude lives in the backfield. Another elite first step, which is probably, I would say, his best trait at the moment. He times the snap really well, explodes off the edge, and instantly puts pressure on the quarterback. He's also got a stout, powerful frame that allows him to anchor against the run. This isn't just a guy who can only get upfield. He's strong at the point of attack, uses his hands well, and maintains a good pad level. There's already a technical base here. He understands how to use leverage and play with control. He's got what scouts call quick twitch athleticism. He can flip his hips, change direction, and track down ball carriers even when the play breaks down. In some evaluations, coaches have said he moves like a defensive back in a defensive lineman's body. And you know what? I think that's a pretty fair assessment. Now, does he have ideal length? No, that's probably one of the knocks on him. He's listed as 6'2", so he's not going to wow you with his wingspan. But Illinois has shown time and time again that it knows how to use so-called undersized players, in particular edge players, and maximize their strengths. Speaking of that, let's talk about fit. Trent Harris, Illinois' new outside linebackers coach, gets the credit for this recruitment. This is his first commitment as an assistant coach, so credit to you. And that's important because what this tells us is that Harris sees Bennett as a prototype for what he wants at that Fox or that Jack position in the Illini scheme. And then let's take a step back for a second. Illinois is going to lose 3 starting caliber edge defenders after this year. Gabe Yakis, Leon Lowry, and Alec Bryant are all likely gone. That means there's a real opportunity for guys like Bennett to come in and make noise early. He's the 4th edge rusher in the 2026 class, joining Jacob Alexander, Kingston Shaw, and of course the aforementioned Jalen Stewart. We already talked about Stewart on the show, explosive kid from Texas. Shaw brings that Florida speed. Alexander is the in-state technician. And now you add Bennett to the mix. You've got a rotation that can hopefully be deadly in the time that by the time they're all sophomores. Jeremy Warner from the Illini Inquirer made a really solid comparison when he compared Kayden to JoJo Hayden. And he's not the same size, obviously, but I think Jeremy did a really good job when you just talk about play on the field. So let's zoom out a bit. When a kid from Connecticut picks Illinois over local schools like UConn and like Boston College, and also turns down offers from Washington and West Virginia, again, these are things you should always take notice. Look, maybe in time I won't notice these sort of things, but I've been an Illinois football fan for far too long. And so I'm still in that honeymoon stage where I do have a certain level of appreciation when we do beat out legitimate other options for a kid, which wasn't the case necessarily even 5-6 years ago. This is not just a kid chasing logos. This is a kid who sees something in what Illinois is building defensively. And again, at this point, it's not a fluke, right? This is the 20th commitment, I think, of the 2026 class and the 4th at outside linebacker. Bret Bielema and Aaron Henry are clearly trying to reload the edge room in a very big way. And they're doing it with guys who fit the mold. Athletic, versatile, high motor defenders with multi-positional upside. And also, don't overlook the fact that Illinois went to the Northeast for this one. They've hit the Midwest, they've hit the South, and now they're hitting the East Coast. Further proof that they're recruiting nationally at this position. And further proof they're winning. So what's next for Kaden Bennett? Well, he's got a senior season left at Suffield Academy, where he's going to be the anchor of their defense. Expect his stock to rise. More Power 4 programs will likely come sniffing. But Illinois has the inside track now. And if they keep him locked through signing day, I think they're going to have a player who could absolutely push for reps in maybe not his first year, but by his second and third. He'll need to keep refining his pass rush arsenal. Right now, he wins with explosion and leverage, but he's going to have to add some more moves for this next level. Swim, rip, counterspin, those are all areas he's still going to have to develop. He'll also have to keep building functional strength, especially to hold up in the Big Ten Conference. But with this athletic traits, motor, and technical foundation, I think the ceiling is quite high. I think in a best case scenario, you're talking about potential all Big Ten caliber edge rusher by the time he's maybe a redshirt junior or maybe even a senior, especially in this system. So to wrap it up, Kaden Bennett, I think, is a very, very solid addition to the Illini's 2026 class. He's the kind of player who might fly under the radar a bit, especially in this class, which is going to be one of the more amazing ones in recent memory. But again, I said the words earlier about Jalen Stewart just earlier this week. Kaden has the potential to be a foundational piece of Illinois' future pass rush. He's got the physical tools, he's got the production, and he's got a coaching fit. And most importantly, he's joining a position group that at this point is being completely reloaded with upside and promise. And again, credit to Trent Harris for landing his first commitment and making it count. If this is the kind of guy Harris is targeting, I'm actually really encouraged about the future of Illinois' outside linebacker room. The 2026 defensive class continues to impress. Keep your eyes on Bennett, because if you blink, you might miss him flying off the edge and wrecking your backfield. The Illinois football machine keeps on rolling, and right after this, we're going to talk about who might be next. And let me give you a hint. It might be soon. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. And you can stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Me personally, I'm spending way too much money going out to eat. I got 2 kids. I'm tired. It's easy to go get food from the fast food restaurant. I know I got to keep that in check. And with Monarch Money, instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and are subscribed to this channel. Now, Tuesday was Illini Day at Wrigley Field, and unfortunately, I was not able to make it out there. But Bret Bielema spent the entire day in the city doing one of those media rounds, I think they call it. And in the morning, he said that he expects to get good news on Thursday. And then in the evening, during the pregame party right before the game started, he told a group of reporters that he also expects good news, not just Thursday, but also sometime next week. And so, as I always like to do, whenever I get emails asking requests of certain topics on the show, I try to oblige. And last week, someone did ask me to do a rundown on potential Illinois recruits and who might be next. And, it just seems like I should do one sooner rather than later, because otherwise it's going to become an old topic really, really quick. And so that's what I'm going to do today. So let's just go in chronological order. On Wednesday, when you're probably watching this, we should be hearing something about Isaiah Williams. Isaiah is a 3-star safety from Texas, and he once had a top 5 of Ohio State, Oklahoma, Missouri, and LSU. Now, look, he just got finished visiting Oregon State, and he visited Illinois, and he just canceled his visit to Utah. And I'm not going to spoiler alert any, but Illini linebackers coach Archie McDaniel did tweet out just earlier this week, Houston to Champaign 2 times. Sounds good. Now, we know Jalen Stewart could have been that first one earlier this week. And, I don't think it takes a master sleuth to figure out that maybe Isaiah Williams to Illini might be happening on Wednesday, which, by the way, if it does, you know where to find that breaking news right here on this channel. Now, after Wednesday, we have what a lot of people are going to consider the big fish, and who I'm going to say Bret Bielema might be referring to when he said that we might be getting some good news on Thursday. And that, of course, is Nick Hankins, a cornerback from Belleville, Illinois. This was a race between Missouri and Illinois. And for the longest time, I actually thought Missouri was ahead. But Nick basically decided to cancel all future visits after his visit to Champaign. And if you're in the Talk Illini Discord, I dropped a little nugget. I think it was maybe last week, talking about how vibes have changed significantly and for the more positive for the Illini. And so hopefully on Thursday, Illinois could add yet another 4-star kid to their 2026 class. I'd argue almost as big of a deal as Nick Hankins is Kai Pritchard on the offensive line. Offensive line is obviously a position that, Bret Bielema has done okay. Obviously, we've got 5 returning starters this year, but it's a position that we're going to have to reload in the future. And the main guy I think that they have their eyes on right now is Kai Pritchard from Toms River, New Jersey, 6'5", 275 pound, and another 4-star that Illinois, for the most part, is in the lead for, so much so that Illinois this week has been starting to get crystal balls in their favor. Now, Kai is also being recruited by Rutgers, Boston College, and I believe Duke. As of this recording, I don't know if Kai has announced when he's going to commit, but last week when I reached out to my reports, they told me that they were feeling good about Kai Pritchard. And now this week, seeing all these crystal balls being given to the Illini, I think we might be in pretty good shape in that recruitment as well. The two guys I think Illinois fans are paying most close attention to are the two tight ends, Max Sutter and JC Anderson. Max Sutter is from 6'5", 230 pounds from Dunlap, Illinois. The seventh tight end in the country, 82nd best player nationally, at least according to 24/7. Mac is being recruited by the big boys. You're talking about beating out Alabama. You're talking about beating out Ohio State. If you had asked me this question 2 months ago, I would have said I feel better about JC Anderson than I did Max Sutter. At the time I thought Max Sutter was just going to be a guy that maybe we'd hang around with for a little bit, but ultimately he would go and join one of the big boys. I'll be honest with you, I'm not saying that Illinois is a favorite for Mac by any stretch, but I think that Illinois and this coaching staff are putting up a much better fight against the Alabamas and against the Ohio States that most fans are giving them credit for. So again, I don't expect it to go favorably for the Illini, but this is certainly a recruitment to keep tabs on. Now, ironically, JC Anderson, for the better part of his recruitment, he has been projected to come to Illinois. He's already visited the campus, I think, 24 times or something like that at this point. I did get in touch with an Auburn contact, and I will say that my enthusiasm for his commitment has waned a little bit. And the reason being is simple: dollar signs. I think JC Anderson, I think his family want him to play at Illinois. But at some point, you just need to make sense in your head. And if you're being offered a certain amount of money more to go to a certain school, I think sometimes it's just kind of hard to turn that down. I still think ultimately it's going to be Illinois, but if you'd asked me a month and a half ago, I would have said 70-30 Illinois. Right now on the spot as of this recording, I'm going to say 51% chance that we find out JC Anderson's coming to Champaign next season. I think JC is going to be making his announcement on July 1st, so we should hear about Max Sutter first. Again, I don't necessarily feel too strongly about that one either, but this also shows you why it was so important to bring in a tight end prospect like Will Vala, as we did a few days ago, because we know, hopefully we are able to land one of these 4-star stud tight ends in the state. But even if we're not, I think we at least have set a nice foundation at the tight end spot. And again, look at me. I just listened to myself talk. In years past, if Illinois let 2 4-star in-state tight ends leave the state and not come to Champaign, there would be chaos. There would be anarchy, people complaining, people rioting on the streets. Now, I think it's going to be a bummer for a lot of us, as it should be, of course. But with this class that Bret Bielema and his coaching staff is putting together, at this point, I trust them, right? It's not going to be the perfect class, but it's going to be a much better class than I'm certainly used to as an Illinois football fan. And I can't wait with the amount of talent that they're bringing in 2026 to see what this class looks like in 2 years, in 3 years. And then what's the class of 2027 going to look like if we continue to build on that momentum? Let's get Illinois to 9 wins, 10 wins this season so that we can continue moving forward and getting better and better. Look, I said a couple months ago, I would have been completely happy. I would have been completely satisfied if Illinois ended up with the top 35 class. In the weeks after that, I was like, hey, who knows? I think Illinois might be able to get a top 25 class. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if certain dominoes fall in Illinois' way, you could be looking at a top 20 class, maybe a top 15 class. Again, I'm not planning for it, but who knows? That just tells you how much momentum Bret Bielema and this coaching staff has this week. And you know what? I'm grateful. It's the offseason. Usually in the offseason, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. But guess what? This coaching staff is giving me a new commitment each and every day to discuss, to watch film on, so that I can relay that information on over to you. So you let me know of the upcoming decisions that are coming up. Is there a certain guy you're feeling good about? Is there a certain guy you don't feel necessarily good about? Would you be disappointed if we didn't get either Max Sutter or JC Anderson? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the chat. A couple news and notes before I let you go. Keaton Kutcher, the former walk-on guard for the Illini last season, Well, he changed his profile around, and he's got himself listed as assistant strength coach for Illini men's basketball. So congratulations to Kayden for sticking around, and hopefully he finds some success in his new career. Also, congratulations to Meredith Shaman, who was named associate head coach for Illini women's volleyball. In unfortunate news, Drew Dickinson, former standout pitcher and pitching coach, former Illini pitching coach, is moving on from Virginia and going to be coaching at Missouri. Come on, Drew, do better. Missouri, come on. Also, I did predict it, and Brad Underwood did confirm that he's going to be in the green room with Will Riley and Kasper Siakoušonis during the NBA draft, as he should be. Those are definitely two pieces of the Illini basketball program that he should be very, very proud of. And not only does he need to be there for the kids because he helped develop them, but you got to take those photo opportunities. You know, you're going to find huge posters of those up in Brad Underwood's office in Champaign as soon as next season. That's going to just about wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you for making Locked On Illini your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Again, really quick, in a matter of 2 days, depending on when you're listening to this, Friday, 1:20 Cubs. If you're looking to have a chat with me or other members of the Locked On Illini community, make sure you let me know that you've purchased tickets. If you have any questions, send me an email at talkillini@gmail.com. Also, for any other reason, like I said, today's second segment was based off of an email that I got from a loyal listener just last week. And so I'd gladly oblige. I know it's been a while since I basically ran down some of these recruits. If you have an idea in your head that you want me to talk about, let me know. Send me an email at talkillini@gmail.com or find me on X at @TheSunnyV, and I'll gladly, keep in mind, I'm handling all these accounts. So I'll gladly respond and let you know basically a timeline on how quickly I can get to it. That should wrap things up for now. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.